super fortunate at the moment because this lion den is pretty spectacular in that there's some nice open river sand, few awesome shady spots for the cubs and the mother to rest in. And so she's just in there, looks like her belly's pretty full, panting away quite a bit. The cubs have just been milling about in front of her. So we're secretly hoping that they'll reveal themselves a little more and we get a better view of them. But we had just come straight from the Xinkhova Female this morning. When we arrived, she was lying in some grass, but looked as though she was stalking something. Trying to just move very, very slowly without disturbing any vegetation, standing on any leaves or sticks or anything that's going to make a noise and essentially reveal her presence to whatever she is stalking. Ducked down into a bit of a drainage line, and then something caught her attention and she was up ready to go. But nothing really materialized there. But it's just a good opportunity for us to have a little catch up with the Xinkhova Female, see how she's doing. She is pretty much firmly established now in what was the Black Rock Female's territory. She does venture quite far south into her mother's territory, which is the Xinkhova Female. But I don't see any issue with that as it stands now. So we left her, we've come across to these lions, and pretty awesome scenes unfolding here with just a mother gently grooming and caring for her young. So while we're sitting here, I keep getting this very pungent aroma of a carcass. And now I don't know what would be smelling around here. Maybe the mother has made a kill while she was here, and that's starting to ripen a little bit and releasing this aroma. These cubs are a bit too young to be eating meat. And the fact that if there is something dead around here, that's likely to draw in other predators or carnivores, scavengers, and could pose a risk or a bit of a threat to these cubs. For a moment I started to panic, thinking that maybe the smell was one of the cubs having died and started to go off here. But we've seen all 4 cubs, they're all accounted for. And the mother has just stood up, walked off behind this sort of big combretum tree behind them, and she's revealed the carcass of something. We can just see the rib cage through these palm fronds. But she has in fact got a carcass at the den, which is pretty unusual behavior on her behalf. But maybe these cubs are at the age to start eating some meat. They normally only begin the weaning process or start eating meat as well as drinking milk from about 3 months old. It can happen a bit earlier or a bit later, but these cubs are only just gone, I would say 2 months. So I'm intrigued by this development. We'll see what the carcass is. My guess would be it's probably a nyala or something like that. It looks quite large. One youngster then got up, went straight across, sniffed it a little bit, sniffed the carcass a little bit, and then moved off and settled down in some of the thicker vegetation where we can't see it. So I do not think these cubs are eating meat yet. This was just purely opportunistic from the mother catching something that was close to the den. But it does definitely raise some concerns now, because the smell of this carcass is undoubtedly going to bring in other predators, and most likely other scavengers such as hyenas, who pose a significant threat to these cubs. If this lioness is by herself and a bunch of hyenas move through here, and the cubs are most likely going to be the collateral damage around here. If there's a male lion or some other females around here, she'll then be able to hold off the hyenas, but it's just a risk. So I'm presuming before sunset this evening, she is going to move these cubs somewhere else. It is starting to get pretty warm here. We've had a phenomenal morning with the Xinkhova Female. Now these lions at a den, and just to top it all off, I'm going to throw in the most insane sighting of a brand new, only hours old elephant calf from the other day. So enjoy that. I've just heard from Barry and Alfie that there is a herd of elephants that has a tiny brand new newborn calf. Must have been born in the last couple of hours. The Xinkhova female and the young male are in the vicinity, as well as a few lions. So it all seems to be happening in this area, and there's a tree in front of me, so I need to come up with a new route through here. Let's see where to go. So we're just taking a slight little detour around here. I'm wondering how close the lions, the elephant and the leopard all are to each other, while hopefully not scratching my vehicle too much. So these elephants have just moved into a bit of a thicket here. We've arrived to the mother. You can still see the afterbirth protruding, with a lot of blood between her back legs, and this tiny little calf stumbling around here. She's going to keep it very close to her. The bond between them is incredibly strong. Imagine she's just been pregnant for 22 months, which is a hell of a long time to be carrying a baby inside you. I can attest 9 months was long enough for my wife Sam. But now they're just milling about here. Mother's still feeding. Calf is all dry and no longer covered in blood. There was a bit of rain this morning, but I would presume this little youngster was born probably 2 or 3, maybe 4 or 5 hours ago. I'm no doctor, but just the fact that she's still bleeding this much and everything looks pretty fresh would say that, yeah, the cub's only a matter of hours old. And already quite sure-footed. See, with the uneven terrain around here, it stumbles around quite a bit. But just to see a tiny little fluffy, wrinkly newborn elephant is one awesome way to start off a morning. We'll stick with him for a little bit now, but because it's quite a thick area, and because the mother will be rushing with hormones, she might be a little bit on edge, and we don't want to put any unnecessary pressure on them. So we'll see if we can get a few more shots. I want to see the little calf's face, because we haven't really seen that too much. And then we'll let them be and see if we can try and find where the leopards and lions have gone. But I can only presume that the lions would have caught the scent of the leopards, and if any of them knew about each other in the area, they would have definitely chased each other off, or the lions would have chased the leopards off, and they'll be on the other side of the reserve by now. So I don't know if we're going to see them in the proximity or in the close vicinity of these elephants. That was the whole placenta coming out. I wish I'd filmed that. Did you get it? I hope so. So I'm really hoping that the GoPro managed to capture that. As we drove through here, she just delivered the entire placenta. Well done. That's incredible. Calf then ended up lying down on it. When it stood up, it had blood all over it. So once they move off a little bit further, I want to go and have a little look and see just how big an elephant placenta is. I've read up somewhere that it's about 15 to 20 kgs. So that is an enormous placenta. It'll be awesome to actually just go and have a look at it now whilst it's on the ground, before any vultures or hyenas or anything come across to eat it. So hopefully they move on pretty soon and we get to have a look. That placenta is absolutely massive. So you can see there, I mean, it doesn't really look like much right now, but that is the giver of life. That is the connection between the mother, her uterus, the umbilical cord through to the calf. So it would have got all of its nutrients. Essentially that is a phenomenal filtration system that is filtering out all of the bad and only allowing through all of the good to the little calf, allowing it to thrive. They've just walked off around the corner. I'm not going to follow them any further, just to see this tiny, super cute little elephant calf has made my morning. So I hope you've enjoyed this little virtual safari. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already. We'll see you back here again next week. But bye for now.